National Crime Victims' Rights Week is an opportunity for organizations like AVDA and law enforcement to engage the community and let them know what services are available to them when they are a victim of a crime.
Crime Victims' Rights Week is a platform for us to stand on with our partners like AVDA, who provide legal resources for victims of domestic violence.
AVDA is engaged with the criminal justice system in many ways. Obviously, we provide legal representation, and so we have a team of attorneys and paralegals that go into the justice system from the vantage point of working as advocates. But in addition to that, we have our battering intervention and prevention program. We work in partnership with the courts, with probation, parole, anyone who might have access to someone who's been identified as a perpetrator, who wants to help steer that person in the right direction toward making meaningful change in their intimate relationships. We're always in the community educating on a basic level about what domestic violence is and how it not only impacts individuals, but also impacts the community at large.
I think it's important for people to realize how common abuse is and not to assume that given a person's profession or education level that it couldn't be happening to them. Because obviously I was a medical student, and a lot of people would never have imagined that I would fall into an abusive relationship. I was intelligent and I knew what I was doing with my life. I was a hard worker, but it can happen to anyone.
We tend to think about domestic abuse on the spectrum of someone just got hurt physically, but there's so many facets to abuse.
I thought abuse had to be black and blue. I didn't know it had to do with the financial control and the name calling, the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse.
Leaving an abusive situation is difficult enough already, but it's also extremely costly. Without AVDA and their legal services, a lot of people could end up right back where they were.
When law enforcement arrives on a scene, any domestic violence scene or violent crime scene, our Texas Penal Code, Chapter 56, mandates that law enforcement will deliver a blue card. It will have hotline numbers, it will have legal resources, it will have emergency shelter resources. All of that is in a nice little compiled brochure, and that way they have resources available, and that will further enhance their chance to reach out to a resource like AVDA or any of our other nonprofits and receive the assistance they need.
That afternoon, after he had rearranged my face, I went to the hospital. And they called the police officer that came in. The two police officers interviewed me. They asked me if I was going to press charges, and then the younger one then said to me, "Do you want to leave him? Are you going to leave him, or are you going to go back?" And I said, "I can't afford to divorce him." He handed me an AVDA card, and he said, "Call these people, call this organization. They will help you financially break away from this abuse, and it won't cost you anything." And that's what rang the bell. I said, oh, it's not going to cost anything. I can do this. This is doable.
AVDA's number, along with various organizations, are available on that blue card, and we want to make sure that line officers are aware that those resources are there and that they can use that as a way to help build trust, engage the community, and let them know that the officer is an ally and a person that they can rely on to get the kind of information that might help them to escape the situation that they're dealing with.
We depend on them to assist and provide services for victims of domestic violence. There's a lot of times where we would love to help with an extremely complicated divorce or child custody or all the intricacies that go with legal services. But as a police department, that's way out of our realm of expertise. So we have to have partners like AVDA to make sure that victims can get those services and assistance that they need in a timely manner.
From experience, I know it's hard to take that big first step. AVDA was very patient with me, very patient with me.
Because we can communicate well with a victim who's been traumatized, we can bridge the gap between law enforcement engagement with them and our ability to help them get through the process, the criminal justice process, dealing with law enforcement, dealing with the legal system, dealing with going to court.
Everybody wanted help. What can we do? What can we do? How can we help? I want to be free of him legally, completely. I want to be free of him. I want a divorce. I can't afford it. And they said, we'll help you do that.
I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't had AVDA because I was a full-time student at the time. I was living off of student loans. I don't know if my career would have turned out the same at all if I hadn't found them.
What we do is the kind of service that transforms lives.
Not only did they help me find a great counselor, besides that, everything was a phone call away.
They've been with me every step of the way, not only financially, but emotionally, they've helped me to cope.
To see a female who left her home and all she owned to try and just have a life free of abuse and financial hardship and all the things that she was going through, to see her flourishing with her children is an amazing feeling. And to know that we had a part of that with partners like AVDA to make that happen is, you can't put words to it, but there's a lot of pride behind it.
My children's future is going to be very happy. My children's future is healthy.
We were no longer under an abuser. That was the biggest thing. We were able to think and grow and live our lives without any kind of fear.
I'm so grateful to them because I would never have been able to reach this point in my career without that support.
My daughters, they became great people.
AVDA.
End abuse.
Begin again.